Hey, hi everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of our Webflow optimization journey. Yeah, I know, I have this, I don't know guys if you can hear, but I have a charge. I have a charge right here near me and we have this charge bells ringing. Anyway, in today's episode, we're gonna build our amazing CMS driven blog section. So without being said, let's roll the intro. Okie dokie, so we already built amazing content so far. We talked about image sprites, we talked about the grid system, we talked about different HTML tags and why it's important to use them. And in today's episode, we're gonna build, guys, the CMS driven blog section right here. We're gonna cover the CMS itself, we're gonna cover how to optimize a CMS collection, and lastly, we're gonna build this amazing 3 columns blog post right here. Okay, so first things first. Every time I do create a new CMS collection, I do database design. This is not rocket science, guys. This is not custom code or a different programming language. No, what you need, in fact, is just a piece of paper, or in this case, I have a Miro board right here where I have a layout, a structure of my database. So for my blog posts, what I know so far? Well, I know that I have a collection named posts, right? My collection named post have a headline, which you can see right here. Yeah, that's my headline. Then I have another field called small description snippet. It's right here, the snippet that goes inside my blog card. And then I have category. Now category, it's a single reference field. What this means is it connects my post to another collection, which is called blog categories. I'm gonna show you in a moment because I've already built, guys, my CMS collections, and I'm gonna show you in a moment how this single reference works. What else? Well, my post also have a thumbnail. This thumbnail right here, it has a header image on the actual post itself. Then I have the article body again on the post page itself. Then I have an author, which is another single reference. It refers to an author collection, right? And then I will also have a switch for featured to make my blog be featured on my homepage, on my landing page. So this is actually the first step that you want to do. If you don't have a Miro account, you can stick a piece of paper and do this schematic view of your CMS collection. Remember, this CMS collection is just a database. So before you would think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have some limitations with the Webflow and with the CMS itself, try to take a piece of paper and do the schematic overview of your entire CMS collection. Trust me, this will help you a lot when you have a visual clue on how to build your CMS collection. Okay, so let's go back to the Webflow and let's have a look how I build everything. So as you saw in the Miro, I have 3 collections. I have my posts, I have blog categories, and I have authors. But let's see how each category connects to each other, how we build the single reference. So I have the post right here. As I'm hovering, I have this gear icon. So I'm going to click on this gear icon to see all the available fields I've built inside my posts collection. So as you can see, I'm having 2 reference fields. I'm having the blog category, yeah, and this reference to these blog categories. And then I'm also having authors reference, which reference to the author CMS collection. What this means is I will connect my post to an author, yeah, because that's obvious. A post is being written by someone. And then also on my post to have a category. Why we have created these 2 reference fields? Well, we created these 2 reference fields because on my website, chances are I'm gonna have a landing page for all my categories. It's gonna be the category headline, maybe a small description, and then below I'm gonna have a list, a collection list of all the articles that are associated to this specific category, and same goes for the authors. I'm gonna have maybe the author headshot, the author full name, his bio, and below I'm gonna have a collection list with all his written posts on our website. Good. Now my blog category, it actually links to blog categories. So right now I only have 2 categories. I have sales and marketing, and for authors I only have 1 author. So if I go to my post, you can see that I already built some dummy posts right here, and if I click on the first one, you can see that I can pick a blog category from here, and then I can pick also an author. Yeah. So with this in mind, let's actually go back to our Adobe XD and prepare the content we have inside. So what we have here, I've already created a new artboard for you guys, which we're gonna use as our section, so it's more cleaner for you to understand. This is the artboard, and inside, as you can see, I've structured my groups inside Adobe XD just like I would structure them inside a Webflow. So I have my section. Inside my section I have section top, then I have the blog grid, and of course these two groups, these two items will live inside a group which will be called container. If you guys remember, we built that design system. So inside my container, I'm gonna have the section that goes on the top, this one, and then I'm also have the blog grid. Why I named this section top? Because chances are I'm gonna reuse this this group right here on other pages. It's looking nice, and chances are not only the blog will feature this type of the headline with this button right here. Then I'm also having the blog grid, which in essence will be a collection list with a display grid applied to it. What else we have inside? So inside each card we have the blog card top. We have this top part right here with the image and with the blog category, and then below I have another div blog, I have another group, and I've also added I added a little bit of padding inside. So Adobe XD have this really nice feature, you can group together elements and then add padding inside. So I made it a little bit simple so you guys can understand that it's possible to have the same layout you build in Adobe XD to the Webflow. So I'm having a small padding inside, yeah, and I'm having the headline and I'm having the snippet right here. Good. Okay, so that's basically the structure of my CMS driven blog section. As soon as we reach our collection list, we're gonna start preparing our assets. We will prepare this blog images, and we're also gonna talk about the scalability of this section. Okay, so let's go back to the Webflow. Let's click cancel. Let's exit our CMS editor. Let's choose our body. We already talked in the previous episode that our body is our artboard inside Adobe XD. So with my body selected, let's do Command A to open up my quick find, and let's drop right here a section. Good. We have the section, and then what else? I know that this new section should have the tag section. It has the tag section. What else? We have to add a class. So let's go back and see, do we have a class right here to the blog section? No, but I think that we can name this as a class, make this as a class. So let's say blog. Good. And now what I know about this blog section? Well, I know that inside I have my container, and my container have two groups of elements. So my container right here, yeah, it has section top and blog grid. Okie dokie. With this in mind, let's select our blog back, our section. Let's do Command A to open up the quick find, and let's drop a div block right here. Okie dokie. My div block should have a class. What class? Let's go back to Adobe XD and have a look. Container. Okay, and as I'm remembering, I've already built the container class in our design system, so I'm gonna type container and apply my existing class. Good. What else? Well, my blog needs to have a padding from the top and from the bottom. And the padding, quite frankly, it's big, 162 pixels. I believe that we can go with 100 pixel from the top and from the bottom. No way to make this super ridiculous, but let's say 100 from here and 100 from here, and let's actually remove the minimum height. Now you can use the minimum height, guys, don't get me wrong, you can use the minimum height, but we also want to make sure this section stays inside the viewport. It's visible in the entire viewport, so it's easy for the user to quickly access the block cards we have inside. Okie dokie. So we just added the padding, and even padding from the top and from the bottom by holding the Option key if you're on a Mac. If you're on Windows, that's the Alt key. And I have my container inside. What I know about my container? Well, I know that my container have this group right here on the top called section top. And with this in mind, let's go back and let's drop another div block right here. So remember, in web we have div blocks. in design we have groups. So my div block, what I know about my div block, I know I have this class section top. So let's copy this class and let's paste it here, section top. That's it. This hierarchy right here for my block section is seemingly the same as my block section in my Adobe XD. So that's why you want to have this mindset, like you need to know how to group together different elements, so later on you can translate these groups into div blocks inside Webflow. So I have my section top. What else I have here? Well, I have another group of elements which are collection list. So let's choose our container back. Let's do Command A to open up the quick find, and let's type collection list. Collection list, this is my collection list, and of course I have to define the source. What is my source? Well, I know these are the blog posts. So from the source panel, I'm gonna choose posts. That's it. And as you can see, Webflow already displays me the collection items right here. We have 3 posts, if you do remember. That's it. So I'm having the basic structure right here. Okay, previously we have covered with you guys the grid system and how amazing the display grid is, especially when we need to build the gap between 2 elements. And as you can see, the gap between my section top and the gap between and my collection list that we have just added to the Webflow have 56 pixel gap. With this in mind, let's go back, let's choose our container, and we're gonna apply right here a combo class, and this combo class will be blog -w, which stands for wrapper, and hit enter key. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, hey, this new combo class I have created for my container will be display grid. It's gonna have only 1 column and it's gonna have only 1 row, because remember, direction is set to row. This means that our collection list wrapper will be created as a new row. Okay, that's good. What else I know about my grid? Well, I know that the gap between my rows is set to 56. So I'm gonna do 56. Oh my gosh, what happened? So 56 pixel. And now we have this gap between my section top and my collection list wrapper. Okay, what I know about my collection list wrapper? I know that my collection list wrapper, it's actually a div block. And if I click my collection list, same thing, it's another div block. So basically I have a div inside another div. Now it's important for me to understand what div block will be set to grid. Yeah, I know that I'm having a wrapper for my collection, but also inside I have the collection list. So I need to think to what div blocks from these 2 I need to apply the display grid. And of course, the display grid should be applied to my collection list. Why so? Because inside my collection list, I'm gonna have the blog cards, the collection item. So with the collection list selected, let's go back to the style and let's apply this blog grid. And as you can see, we have the section top and we have this blog grid right here. So we have the section top and the blog grid. Now obviously we cannot build collection wrappers inside Adobe XD, but as you can see, we're basically following the same structure we've built in Adobe XD, and it's a lot simpler for us right now to understand how to build this section inside the Webflow. Good. Now what I know about my blog grid? Well, I know about my blog grid that my blog grid, it's in fact a grid, so display grid. And what I know, I want my columns to be auto-generated. I want them to be auto-generated based on that featured switch that we have. So let me show you. So look right here, if I go to my collection, my CMS collections, I have this post right here, and if I click on a post, you can see that we have the switch right here featured on the home page. So when this is on, I want my blog post to be featured on my home page. So with this in mind, I want to make sure that my blog grid is scalable. What I mean by that, so let's assume that I only have 2 items right here. That's it. I only have 2 items, or maybe this is too wide. Let's say it takes an even space right here. What if I have 2 items? Yeah, that's it. So maybe not all the time I'm gonna have 3 items. Maybe I'm gonna have only 2 items because maybe my client forgot to add that, to toggle on that switch. So with this in mind, I know that the direction should be column. So I'm gonna go direction column, because every new item I have inside my block grid, I want to be created as a new column. And then I'm going to have only one row. And as you can see, so one column, one row. As you can see, I'm having the first post right here, and then the next two posts, this one and this one, they're basically created, auto-generated as a column because we have applied right now direction column. I'm gonna choose done, and you're gonna see in a moment when we play with that featured toggle, you're gonna see that we might have 2 columns, we might have 3 columns, that's it. So what I want to do right here is I want to choose my collection list wrapper. I want to go to the settings, and I wanted to apply right here a filter, and I want to do plus, and I want to say, hey, display the articles that I have in my post CMS collection. Display only those articles that have where is our switch, that have our featured on homepage switch toggled on. I'm gonna say save, and as you can see, no items found. But if I go to my posts collection, if I choose, for example, this article, yeah, so if I choose this article and I say featured on the homepage and I choose save, and then I do the same for the second article, so I say featured on the homepage and click save. So right now we only have 2 articles featured on our homepage, and as you can see, indeed I only have 2 columns right here, which displays the articles that have the featured on homepage switch on. Okay, what else I want to do? I also want to limit my items. I don't want to display more than 3 items right here, so I'm gonna choose, hey, limit my items, show only 3 items. Doesn't matter how many articles have that featured, display only 3 items. Now what you can do is you can also apply this sort order and random order, choose save, and then every time there's going to be a new random order. Let's assume that you have more than 10 featured articles on your homepage. Then guess what? Every time Webflow will randomize that, so every time we'll have different articles right here because we added this shuffle right here. Okay, so we set up our blog grid. Now let's go back to our post, and let's make sure for the last article right here we also make this featured, so we have 3 columns just like in our design. So save, let's close, and as you can see we have indeed 3 columns. Let's actually build the section we have here on the top. Now we go back right here, and as you can see I've already grouped together this section top, yeah. So as you can see, it's fully responsive. And what we have inside, so inside our section top, we obviously have this button right here, and we have another div block which grouped together the label, the section label, and then this headline too. Remember, every section needs to have a heading 2 level, and then only one section should have H1. That's your header section. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna do blog main, blog head main, and I think I won't name this blog head main because I'm gonna reuse this section top. So I'm gonna say section head main. So section head main, good. Let me copy this one. Let me go back to the Webflow with the section top selected. I'm gonna do Command A, open up my quick find, and I'm gonna draw up a div block right here. So I'm having my div block. What I know? Well, I know that I need to apply this class. The class I have in my Adobe XD. So see, you're basically just copy and pasting elements. What else I know about my section top? Well, I'm also having a button. And as you know, guys, if you do remember, we have created this design system, and inside our design system we have this BTN simple. So let me copy this BTN simple. Let's go back to our home. Let's scroll all the way to the bottom to our blog section, and I'm gonna choose the section top and paste my button right here. Good, wonderful. Okay, now before we would apply any display properties, let's actually build the section head main. Let's actually add the label and the headline. So I know I have a label right here, and if you guys remember, we already built the label, this right here. Yeah, so I'm gonna paste it right here, and we also build a headline. So let's actually make this really simple. Let's choose section head main, and let's drop a headline right here, a heading. I always confuse headlines with headings. Okay, so we have H2. Remember, every section should have an H2. We have the label, so let's just copy what we have here. So guide with articles. Remember, you toggle off the caps lock. Try to make all small caps. So guide to articles. Why everything is all caps? Because guys, we have applied to the section level. We have applied capitalize all caps right here. For the headline, for our heading 2, we're gonna copy this and we're gonna paste it for you. Good. It's looking nice. It's looking nice. Okie dokie. Now, what we can do also, you can see that we define this margin. We can remove this margin and we can say for the section, this one, we can set another display grid. So with my section label selected, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say reset. Yeah. And then what I can do is I can choose my section head main. So this group right here. This group right here, guys. And then I can say, hey, be a display grid. Be one column and one row. And then you can see that I can control right now the gap between these two elements, just because I have this display grid applied. That's it, so simple. So we'll have to do basically the same for section level here, for heading 2 here. So we'll have to create a group and add these two items inside a group and then set a display grid. But that's only when you want to control the gap between these two items. For me, it's looking good, so I'm gonna stick back to display. I'm gonna do reset, so I'm gonna stick back to display block. Okay, now I'm gonna choose my section top, and I know my section top is flex. Yeah, it's flex because one item it's on the left, one item it's on the right. So I'm gonna say flex. It's horizontal, so I don't want to click on horizontal. I don't know how to override the default Webflow properties. It's already looking good. And then for justify, I'm going to choose justify space between. So my section, so this part right here goes on the left, this part right here goes on the right. And then I'm going to align these items to the middle. That's it. And let's see what else. Okie dokie. So what I'm gonna do next is for my container, I will also define a width. So I'm gonna say 100%. I want my container to take 100% from its 1200 pixel max width. That's it. Okay, so we build the section from the top. Now it's time to build, guess what? It's time to build our block card. Okie dokie. So our block card. Now before we will build our block card, now we have to optimize our images and drop these images to whether the block thumbnail, which will be displayed right here, or whether to the header image. I've already created this for you guys. Now I already have right here the first, the second, and the last one. So these are my thumbnails, and right here I have my header image. Now we're gonna export all of this. We're gonna add them inside our article, inside our post collection. So let's choose the first one, this one right here. Now I'm gonna select everything, all of these 3 thumbnails. I'm gonna do right click, export selected. Now I wanted to export this as a JPEG, and for this time these are thumbnails. I don't need the full quality for them, so I'm gonna choose quality 80%, and I'm gonna go export. So I have my thumbnails here, guys, and now what we need to do is we have to fire up our image compressor. So compressor.io, don't worry, I'm gonna have the link in the video description. And then let's select all of these 3 thumbnails that we have just exported and drag them right here. Okay, looking good. Let's download them all. Okay, so we have all the thumbnails here. Now I'm not export the header image, but you should follow the same rule. Now why we have the thumbnails and why we have the header image. Now obviously the header image will be a full width image, which will be wider, which will be bigger in terms of size. So we want to make sure that these thumbnails, these image thumbnails we use for our blog post, are optimized and smaller than the header image. What we're gonna do next, we're gonna go back to the Webflow, we're gonna go back to our post right here, our CMS collection, and we're gonna choose the first article, and we're gonna drag and drop our thumbnail right here. So this is the first thumbnail, dropping right here. Let's choose save. Let's select the second one. Let's drop it here and choose save. And our last one, the last thumbnail, drag and drop, choose save. Now I'm having my I'm having my thumbnails right here. What else? Well, I want to choose for every article, I want to choose a category. So this one will be marketing, and that's the author. Let's click save. Let's do the same for others. This one, I'm going to say sales, same author. And the last one, I think we can go with marketing, and the author with this one. So click save. Okay, we have successfully configured our articles, and now it's time to build our blog, right? Okay, now let's see what we're gonna have here. So we have a div block right here, and this part from the bottom, I think that this will be a link block because I want my user to click on the title or on the description and redirect him to my blog post. So with this in mind, let's go back. Let's choose our collection item. So we have 3 collection items. We have this one, and this one. Let's choose the first one, and any style we apply to the first one will be translated to the second and the third because they live inside a collection list. So let's see, we have the blog card. So let's copy the blog card class from here. Yeah, let's go back to our collection item. Let's go back to the style pane and apply right here this class. So we have blog card, and as you can see, it's successfully applied for the rest of the cards I have inside this collection list. So with my blog card selected, what I want to do next? Well, I wanted to start building the elements inside my blog card. So what I have right here from the top, I have the image, and I have this label right here for my category. And my label, chances are, will be another link block and will redirect the user to the marketing category landing page. So let's do a zoom in right here so we see it better. And let's start building the top. So we have blog card top. Let's copy this one. Let's copy this name with the blog card selected. Command A, open up quick find, and we're going to drop a div block. Now the class of my div block will be this one, the one that I've literally just copied from my Adobe XD, guys. And what else I know? Well, I know that inside my blog card I'm gonna have an image, but before adding that image and before applying that object fit that we have talked earlier, and by the way, I'm gonna make sure I have the episode link in the video description, I need to define height. So my blog card top have a predefined height of 387 pixel. I'm gonna copy this one, go back and paste it right here. Now, in order for my object fit to work, so I also need to have 100% width. I want my blog card top to take 100% width from the blog card, and the blog card, remember, takes 100% from 1 fraction units of its column cell. I'm gonna make sure I link in the video description the how we build the grid system so you can remember all of those things. So let's continue. Blog card top. Now what I love to add here is I love to add a small background, because if the image haven't been loaded yet, I want my user to still see this gray box so he can understand that this is a placeholder for an image or for an asset. Good. What else? Well, inside my blog card, I'm gonna have my label. So before adding that marketing label, the category label, I'm gonna add the image. So blog card top, I'm gonna do Command A, and inside my blog card top, I'm gonna drop my image. So I'm gonna say image. Good. Now remember that we have to define a width and the height of our image. That's why it's important that all of your blog posts have the same size when it comes to their header image or to their thumbnail. Let's go back to our Adobe XD and have a look at the width and the height. So I know that the width, it's 800 pixels, so I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna go back and say 800 pixel, and now for the height I'm gonna go 387. So 387 for my height. Now I want to get my image from the article thumbnail, and I'm gonna use the alternative text. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna get the alternative text from the article title. That's it. So simple. Now what else? Well, I want my images to lazy load and scroll. That's why we have applied that gray background color. So if the user starts scrolling but his network is slow, he can still see that gray box and understand that that's a placeholder for my image. Okie dokie. Now what we have to define here. Now for my image I have to define a class. We actually have defined a class. It's called car img wrapper. So let's copy this from here. And I named this card img wrapper because chances are I'm gonna reuse this this image on other cards that I have throughout my website. So card img, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say, hey, take 100% width and 100% height from what? From the block card top. And also for the object fit, I want you to cover. And when we cover, we're gonna say to cover in the center. Now you can play with the positions, that's it, but usually it's center, so it's responsive. This thumbnail is responsive. Good. So we have the image. Now we also need to add our marketing label, the blog category. So with my blog card top selected, what I need to do is I want to drop right here. I'm gonna drop a link. Let's see, a text link. Why we're dropping a text link and not a link block? Well, because we're gonna apply in a moment a class to this text link, and we're gonna define that black color and white text. So no need to use a link block, and inside this link block have a text block, because we want to preserve the DOM size and the number of nested childrens inside a section. Okay, what I know about this this text link right here? Well, I know that the URL, it's actually choose a collection page. I know that the URL it's blog category. Yeah, that's it. I know it's the blog category. That's the page I wanted the user to click. Now, what for the text? Well, for the text, I know that this text link right here should be replaced with the name of my category. So I need to scroll all the way to the bottom, and under the blog category, I can see that the category name. And now I have successfully linked the URL to my category right here. So this will redirect to the sales, this will redirect to the marketing, this will also redirect to the marketing, and I successfully changed the text of my link text to say sales or marketing or marketing. Good. Okay, so what else? We need to style this link. So let's see, we have this black background color, and what for the text? Well, it's Rubik 16 pixels medium. Let's add the class. So it's card label, this group right here. So I'm gonna copy the name, I'm gonna go back to my link, I'm gonna go back to my style and paste it right here. I'm gonna name this card label because chances are I'm gonna reuse this class on other boxes that I will have throughout my website. So card label, what I know so far? Well, I know that this is display, this one right here, inline block. Why? Because I want to have access to my padding. So with the shift, hold your shift key and just drag and drop the padding, and as you can see, I'm applying a padding. So let's go 10 pixel. I think it's looking nice. I want my user to easily click on this link text. Yeah, that's why we need to add a decent amount of padding. Let's do 10. Good, 10. And what else I know? Well, I know that the color is white, so I'm gonna go white. I know that the size is, let's take a moment back. I know that the size is 16, Rubik medium, so it's 16. Well, it's not medium, so I'm gonna switch to the medium. And then what else I know? Well, I know that the background is black, so I'm gonna go black. Good, now it's black. And then finally we have this underline. Now this is an underline by default added to any link block, so I'm gonna go like this, decoration, known to remove the underline from my text link. Okie dokie, but something is not quite right. I mean that this label right here should stay inside on the top of my image. Well, that's really easy to fix. With my block card selected, remember the one that have the group that have my image and my label. So with this in mind, I'm gonna select block card top, and I'm gonna go to position, I'm gonna choose relative. Why? Because in a moment for my card label, we can apply the absolute position. So I want my card label to be absolute to his parent, which is blog card top. That's why we have defined a position relative for our blog card top. So with the card label selected, let's go to position and let's choose absolute. Now I want my label to be on the top of my image, so I'm gonna say z-index 1 because my image is on the z-index 0 level. Okay. What else? Well, I want them to be aligned right here Yeah, and as you can see, it's relative to blog card top. I don't know why we have this warning, but as you can see, as we are hovering over the body, we can see that in fact our card label is relative to blog card top. Okay, now we have to add a little bit of padding right here, or in this case, to move our label. Let's choose our label and let's see. So we have 14 pixel from the bottom and 18 from the left. So with this in mind, with our card label selected, I'm gonna click right here. So under the position absolute in this box, I'm gonna say, hey, I want a 14 pixel, not person, so change to pixels, 40 pixels from the bottom, and then I want 18 pixel from the left. That's it. That's it. And now as you can see, if I'm clicking right here, I'm being redirected to the blog categories. You can see right here on the top, and the item is sales. If I go back, let's say to if I go back to the marketing, you can see that I'm redirected to the blog categories landing page to the marketing item. Now I don't think we'll have the time to design all of these, but just wanted to show you guys how everything works. So let's go back to our home and let's play more. Let's finish up the styling. So we already built the items on the top, so let's choose our block card back and build this item on the bottom. And if you guys remember, we talked that this item from the bottom will be a link block because I want my user to click and redirect him to my blog post. So let's copy this class, and with my block card selected, I'm gonna do Command A to open up my quick find, and I'm gonna drop a link block. Why a link block? Because when the user click on this link, I want to redirect him to my blog post. So the link block, we have to do a couple of adjustments here. So first of all, I want my link block to redirect the user to the current post. Yeah, and the preload will be again set to default. I don't want to download this blog post to the browser cache. That's it. No. Okay, that's the only thing we have to do right here. Link block. Now the second thing is, of course, we have to apply with the link block selected. We have to apply this class, blog card content. Good. Now inside my blog card content, I have some items. I have a heading 3 level and I have a paragraph. Why a heading 3 level, guys? Well, a heading 3 level because I already have a heading 2 and the next level is heading 3. Remember, always nest your heading levels. You have H1, H2, H3, H4 and so on. Never go with H2 and then switch to H4. We have H2, the next heading will be an H3. The next heading will be an H4, so on and so on. So let's copy this H3. Let's go back. I'm going to do Command A with my blog card content selected. I'm going to drop a heading right here. Now this time this will be a H3. So I'm going to drop it. I'm going to drop this placeholder right here. We will link in a moment to our article title. What else we have in our blog card content? Well, we also have this paragraph. So let's copy, and again we're gonna reuse this as a placeholder. So Command A, open up quick find and drop a paragraph. Good. The paragraph is here. Now what else? Well, I want to control the padding between my heading 3 and my paragraph. And guess what? I'm gonna select my block card, and first of all I'm gonna define a padding. So I know the padding is 22, as you can see from here. The padding is 22, so let's actually do 20. So I'm gonna go with the padding of 20. I think it's looking nice. And then I'm gonna say display grid. Why? Because I want to control the gap between my heading 3 level and my paragraph. So I'm gonna choose direction will be row. So I don't want to click on this to override, so that direction will be row because my paragraph will be pasted as a new row. I wanted to remove one of my column and I wanted to remove one of my row. The direction is set to row. This means that my paragraph will be created as a new row. I'm gonna choose done, and I think we can tweak this a little bit. So maybe not 16, maybe let's go with 10. I think 10 is looking nice. What else? Well, we have to define a color. So first of all, I want to set the decoration to none. I don't have that underlined effect. And then for the color, you can see that it says black, but we still have to override this. Yeah, so I'm gonna just do this this thing right here to override this, and now I can control the color of my heading 3 and my paragraph from my block card content. That's so simple. Okay, now what else? I think that my heading tree needs a class because it have 24 pixels. So let's go back, let's choose our heading tree, and yeah, it's 30 pixels. So let's add this a super simple class. So let's say blog card title, and let's choose the size of 24, and the line height will be, so 24, it's gonna be 34. Good, 34. Wonderful. So I think it's looking nice. Now you can add some hover effects on this link block, like changing the color to red or to green, but that's not the case for our presentation, for our tutorial right here. So I'm having all of my block cards right here. What else? Well, I have to choose back my block card, and as you can see, we have this border right here, guys. So we have this border and we have this shadow. So let's select this one. Yeah, let's select our block card, and let's copy the hex code for my border. So with my border, with my block card selected, I'm gonna scroll all the way to the bottom where it says borders, and I'm gonna say, hey, have this color for my border. And as you can see, we do have border. And what else we know about the border? We know that we have roundness of 3 pixels. I'm gonna go 5. So with the radius, I'm gonna go 5 right here. That's the radius of my border, how rounded my border should be. And I think it's looking good. And what else I want to do? Well, I want my blog card right here. I want this to be overflow hidden because I want it to crop the items that goes outside. So you can see our image right here is not cropped. It have straight corners. So I want this to be rounded to take the roundness from my block card, which is 5 pixels. So with this in mind, I'm gonna go with my block card selected, with my entire card selected, the one that we have just applied a border radius and a border color. I'm gonna go to overflow and set it to hidden. And as you can see, we have this rounded effect right here. Now it's all the items, all the elements that goes outside, all the pixels that go outside my block card will be cropped. Good. I think it's looking nice. Last thing, with my block card selected, I'm gonna define a box shadow. It's a box shadow. Let's see what we have here. It's black. Well, let's actually build this inside a Webflow. So angle 180, maybe a little bit of distance. I know that shadows usually are not dark, like not black. I know that they might be warm or cold, so I'm gonna go with something cold this time. So maybe this color. Yeah, I think it's looking good. Maybe dim down the opacity. And what else? Well, blur of course has to be bigger, and the size want to be smaller, something like this. I want this to be a soft shadow. And voila. Yeah, I think it's looking nice. I think it's definitely looking nice. Let's have a preview. Yeah. So here we go. We just successfully built our collection list right here. Alright, the last thing to do is to bind my H3 and my paragraph to the article snippet and the article description. So I'm gonna choose this one, the H3. I'm gonna go to settings, and you can also access these settings from here. So if you select an element that lives inside the collection list, and if you go to element settings, you have it right here. So with my H3 selected, I'm gonna say, hey, get this text from the article title. Wonderful. And get the paragraph, this one, from the article snippet. That's it. Wonderful. Now it's looking really nice. Now let's take a moment and see the scalability of this section. So what's gonna happen if, let's say, I'll only have 2 featured articles on my home. So let's click save. Let's have a look. Wonderful. It is scalable. Yes, indeed, it is scalable. Even when I'm gonna have only 1 article right here. So let's have a moment. Let's see exactly what's gonna happen. Even like these, it's still looking nice. So that's the power of Grid, guys. Like, it allows you to build scalable UI components. Alright, let's have this featured also. Let's click save. And as you can see, it's looking really nice. Now I wanted to publish and run my Google Lighthouse audit. So let's do right click, let's click inspect, and let's Let's go to the lighthouse right here and click on generate report. So don't worry about this, like you wanted to publish on a live server and then see exactly how it's gonna how that's gonna impact your Google Lighthouse audit. That's it. So in today's episode, we've learned how to design our CMS collection. We learned that we need to take a piece of paper or to have a Miro board where we design the schematics of our CMS collections. Yeah, we talked how to optimize the images inside our collections. We talked about the thumbnails for our articles. We talked about the difference from the thumbnails and the header images and why we actually need to have both versions. And finally, we discovered more great features about the grid system, and we built some conditional visibility for our collection list. So I hope this video was super useful for you guys. Go ahead, apply these tips that you've learned today, and as always, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring that notification bell so you're notified on your phone when the next episode is uploaded. I want to thank you all for taking the time and watch this episode. Love you all. Bye bye.